Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the CV Central podcast. I'm your host, Jay. Today, I'm joined by my good friend,
Yes, sir.
the NBA nerd
Yes,
himself,
sir.
Dan Dolan. Hey, man, we're back on the CV Central grind. I was out with the flu. It was terrible. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. We got a lot that we got to talk about. I brought Dan over here specifically for the NBA knowledge, man. Did you happen to get a chance to watch the Knicks Celtics?
Yeah, and honestly, I turned the game off, bro. I turned the game off. Like, that game should have been over, man. I'm telling you, like this whole Eastern Conference playoffs, I feel like there's been so many like lead blows, man. And because like once you're up 20 in the playoffs, man, like you're done, bro. That playoff intensity, once it gets that third quarter, like you're done. But the Pacers and the Knicks, man, they want it, dude. And they want it from tip to to that fourth quarter buzzer sounding, bro.
Yeah, and I just think the Celtics currently are on their finals high right now.
Absolutely, bro. You know, they made a great run, and then they went out sad, really, last year to the Heat, man. They were the favorites to win the title, like, back-to-back. And in my mind, they were the favorites to win this year. To me, they have the best starting five, the best bench ever, bro.
Well, I think the Cavs were better this year.
I don't know. Like, I think on
the Cavs
paper,
are
yeah,
better.
sure. But I think the Celtics are a better team.
Well, when you look at the stats of the game, Mikal Bridges had 43 minutes, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And Mikal Bridges didn't score those 14 points until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think the Celtics just get too comfortable, bro. They get way too comfortable.
Yeah. And Mikal Bridges, much like in Game 1, had a defensive stop to end the game.
Clutch. He's on a legendary run right now, that guy. Yeah, Mikal Bridges and Aaron Gordon, bro. They both have to be studied because right now they're saving the legacies of the players around them, man. It's actually so great to watch.
Yeah. Josh Hart, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Cat, 21 and a 17 game. Brunson had 17 and 7, but I feel like Brunson had a quiet 17 points.
And that's the thing about Brunson is either you're going to know he's there or he's going to do his work behind the scenes. You know, now that he has someone like Karl-Anthony Towns to like be that guy, you know, he doesn't have to be the main focus, or even Mikal Bridges.
No, yeah. So this game to you, is this more of the Knicks just wanting it more, or the Celtics just collapsing? Because we saw this in game 1.
Because you got to think about like who their supposed star player is, bro. Jason Tatum. We had an all-time Jason Tatum disaster class, bro. The Knicks locked that guy up, man.
Yeah, I believe he was what? He was 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter in overtime in game 1.
Goals the whole game, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but dude, we had an all-time disaster class with Jason Tatum, who I think was their best performer for this game with 14 rebounds.
Tatum had 13 and 14. 13 and 14. Derek White and Jaylen Brown both had 20.
The Knicks just ultimately wanted that more. Like they weren't complacent with where they were. Like they were like, no, like we are still gonna win this game.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend. And much like Stephen A. said on First Take, in order for the Knicks to win this series, it felt like Game 2 was a must-win game.
But that's the beauty of the playoffs.
Because
like every game is a must-win, and teams like Boston and Cleveland, who have been steamrolling, all of a sudden are in like this. We have to win, and we're like, oh crap!
Now they're down 2. Now they're down 2. We have Cavs and Pacers tomorrow. After Halliburton just
putting up a Reggie Miller, bro. He's going Reggie Miller, man. I love to see it. I think so here's my thing about the East. Since LeBron has been gone, every year, like, we don't know who's coming out of the East. Every year it's been so, like, and I love that. And I love that this year it's like a quote unquote like New York isn't a small market, but in terms of like how relevant they've been in the last 20 years, the fact that we could possibly see like either the Knicks or the Pacers in the finals, bro, that is so exciting as an NBA fan. You gotta love that.
Yeah, I was telling you before we started a few hours ago that this finals felt like one of the more up for grab finals in the last few years. Like 2023, you kind of had a consensus. That the Nuggets were going to win. 2024, you had a consensus that the Celtics were going to come out of the East still, even after all the times that they've choked in the years prior. But this year, especially with the Cavs and the Celtics, you might have had an idea that those two would have came out, but now they're down 2.
I will say this entire season, not once have I believed in Cleveland. I have never believed in Cleveland ever. Like, I think this is like a 20. Well, remember that Utah Jazz team that was the 1 seed that one year?
That 20.
I think it was 20. I don't remember what year it was, but to me, this Cavs.
It might have been the year. It might have been
Donovan
the year
Mitchell was still on that team, I believe, with Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert. To me,
yeah, he was.
This Cavs team is that Jazz team, bro. Like they had a great regular season, but they don't got what it takes. I feel like to just take everything.
No, and I think a lot of it comes with experience because you obviously have Donovan Mitchell. And that team is deep, but so far Donovan Mitchell has been the only person to show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, because I think that, I think last year, like a lot of people had OKC going to the conference finals. Or like, are they a dark horse candidate to go to the finals? I think this year they have what they need to go to the finals. But I think the same way last year, it was like not expected for them to go to the finals. I've never expected the Cavs to go to the finals, not at all.
I will say though, I think whoever is going to the finals is going to come out of the Warriors Timberwolves series.
Stop. No way.
I think whoever comes out of that series is going to the finals.
No.
But then again, it's all about matchups because I think if the Timberwolves ran into the Thunder, that game could go 7 games.
I don't know, man. Timberwolves are having a hard time with the Warriors. They're down. Maybe it's just 1 game. You can't ever tell a series by 1 game.
They are. They are. Game 4, Game 5 against the Lakers, they didn't shoot particularly well. Game 1, they haven't shot well. But when Naz Reid is hitting his shots, when
Rudy Gobert is doing his thing, by the way, who was arguably their best player last season.
When Gobert is apparently prime Shaq and
yeah, that was insane. Out of nowhere, bro. Rudy Gobert was finally living up to his name.
And Mike Conley is as old as time, and yet he's still doing his thing. Solid role playing numbers.
Yeah.
That Timberwolves team is very deep, and when they get hot, they're a scary team to play.
And we haven't even mentioned the name Anthony Edwards, bro. Like he is such an anomaly, bro. Like
we haven't. He disappeared in Game 1,
but he's gonna come back. Here's my thing about Golden State, though, man. I don't think Golden State is a complete team. I really don't think they are a complete team. I think they're a good team. Obviously, they're.
I think they're a good team. I don't think they're championship contending.
I don't think that Golden State has the structure to win everything. I don't think so.
No. Like as much as I wanted to be delusional and say Lakers in 5 throughout the entire playoff series, the realism in me also realized that the Lakers were eventually going to get bounced out of the playoffs. It was just a matter of when. The matchup against the Timberwolves did not help the Lakers. You had Rudy Gobert going for 20 and 20 every night, and Austin Reeves shrunk. This was the worst he looked.
Far cry from even last postseason. Because the thing is, like Nico Harrison is wrong, but he's right in this sense. Like, defense does win championships, bro. If you don't have defense or length, you're not going to make a finals run. It's never happened. Never.
Just look at the top teams in the East and the West. They're some of the best defenses in the league.
Absolutely.
The Thunder, the best defense in the West. The Cavs, the best defense in the East. You could probably argue the Celtics, but I think the Cavs are just a little more deep.
Yeah, for sure.
Defensive wise, that pushes them over.
I think the Timberwolves are definitely the better defensive team, but man, than the Warriors when we're talking about that series. But I just it blew my mind that they lost that game so handily, especially without Curry. And now, I don't know if you saw, but Curry's out for game 2 as well.
Yeah, Curry's out Thursday, so it's going to be interesting to see. I thought after Curry went out, Jimmy Butler was still too complacent. I think Jimmy Butler, this is his time right now to go playoff Jimmy mode. And if the Warriors can steal game 2 in Minnesota, I like the Warriors' chances of winning the series.
I think game 2, hear me out. I think whoever wins game 2 wins the series. I'm going to call that right now. I think if Minnesota can take it back, they can win.
I feel like historically, whoever wins game 2,
that's true. But then you got to think about teams where the Bucks Suns finals, right? Bucks were down 0-2, and they came all the way back. You know, this kind of stuff happens, and so especially when you have a player like Anthony Edwards, who is just so capable of flipping a switch and dropping 50 every night. You can never know.
Yeah. And I mean, the Timberwolves were down 20-25 in that game 1, and then Edwards started catching a hot hand, and they brought it within 10. But the Timberwolves had dug themselves into a hole so deep that it was just hard.
It was just rough because had they had a good first half, I would have won that game. I feel. And I know that's dumb to say out loud because obviously, but it's so true.
Yeah, you're not going to win a playoff game. You're not going to win a playoff game having 35 points.
Unless you're the Indiana Pacers, who seem to come back from any deficit right now, bro.
Yeah, Halliburton is looking like... I mean, I've always said it. Halliburton is in my opinion, the 7th best point guard in the league.
Yeah, he's definitely top 10, for sure. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue on that.
We'll have to get our rankings in
here
one day.
Will. But here's the thing. I think my biggest disappointment so far this postseason is definitely the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know what they did, bro, to sell their souls for that 21.
I don't think so. I actually had the Pacers winning that series. I just had them winning in 7 games. I didn't have them winning in 5. And the problem with that is, believe it or not, Giannis has not won a playoff game since 2022 when they ran into the Celtics and Giannis won game 5. And then remember, he had that game 6 where he had 40 points.
Still won that game.
The Celtics still won that, and then Celtics won game 7. Giannis has not won a playoff game since that game 5. And I think it's time. I think Giannis is going to be out of Milwaukee by.
I think the writing was on the wall.
Season.
Yeah, right, dude. I think the writing on the wall for Giannis was when they lost to the Heat. What was that last? No, was it 2 years ago or was that last year?
It might have been. Who did they lose to last year?
I know they lost in the first round last year. I don't remember, but
yeah, I don't know who they ran into. Did they run into the Heat last year?
Hold on, I'm confused now.
They might have.
I gotta look this up. But all I'm saying, man, is that wait, let's see. No, they lost to the Pacers last year, bro.
Oh, okay.
I think the writing was on the wall last year for Giannis to get out of there. Like they have come up so short since that 2021, and getting a championship is huge. That will take your franchise. That'll hold you over for 10 years, knowing that you've won a championship.
Yeah.
That is bigger than I think most people make it out to be. But for Giannis, who is, if it wasn't for SGA and Jokic, I know this sounds dumb, but it's true. He would have been a super MVP favorite. He's having one of his best career years ever, but to just come up short. And you could say, oh well, Dame was injured, but
it just happens that even though Giannis is having a super career year, SGA and Jokic are just having that.
Oh yeah, that it doesn't even. We can't even look at Giannis right now. But to come up that short in 5 games.
I will say though, I know the regular season MVP is supposed to be a regular season award, but I do think whoever wins this series is going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Because say what you want about regular season awards, they factor in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, and you know, I agree, but to me, I just don't think SGA is better than Jokic still, and I'm going to die on that hill. I don't see. I just think
so either.
Jokic is by far, and he should have been the MVP when last year when Embiid got the trophy. Man, this should be a 4P.
If we throw out voter fatigue, I can make the argument Jokic is a.
That's not ridiculous MVP. To say. That's not ridiculous to say.
Straight.
Absolutely, 5 straight. Never done before, but Jokic obviously is the man to do it, bro. And he has a chip and a Finals MVP to back it up.
The only man that should have done it is LeBron, but they gave it to Fraud Rose instead.
Yeah, dude, that's a whole other conversation that people will get upset about.
A lot of people are going to kill me for that.
It's true. Voter fatigue.
I said it once and I'll say it again. That was LeBron's MVP. That was his 5th straight. I would have even taken Dwight Howard over it as the MVP over D Rose.
That's not that crazy to say.
Dwight Howard was having a career.
Yeah, man. I don't know. But I like the Knicks. I would love to see the Knicks go to the finals this year. If I could choose one team out of the East to go to the finals, it would be the Knicks. And honestly, bro, I'm rooting for the Nuggets. I don't think they're going to pull it out.
I'm rooting for Brunson, man.
I'm off and on with him.
I'm rooting for Brunson. I was a big fan of him at Villanova when they won the national championship. But I think Brunson, if the Knicks win Game 3,
absolutely, yeah, Celtics aren't coming back.
And who would have thought the defending NBA champions could possibly get swept?
Yeah.
I believe they said this is the first time the first time ever the top seeds were all lost the first game.
Yeah, not to mention that all four of the home teams have lost in the second round.
Yeah, but not all of them have lost now. Obviously, the Thunder.
Oh my goodness, dude, that was embarrassing, man.
I refrain from cussing on this channel, but the Nuggets got straight.
Absolutely, dude. 106 to 149 is abysmal in a postseason game. I just don't even.
Let's pull this up.
Just an absolute disaster class tonight, man.
149-106. The game is going back to Denver. Westbrook had 19 and 5. Jamal Murray had 14. Jokic had a 17, 6 and 8 game. A little bit of a down game in terms of Jokic. But if you look at who they played, the Nuggets played 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players with 10 plus minutes. And then obviously Kankar and DeAndre Jordan came in for garbage time minutes. But Jokic just had a
fouled
down
out third
game.
Quarter, by the way.
And then you obviously had he did foul out. And then you obviously had Shea with 34, 8 and 4. And then Chet had 15-11. Jalen Williams had 17 and 7. Hartenstein had a solid 14, 8 and 5. Lou Dort had 12. Isaiah Joe had 14.
Everyone was eating,
Wiggins,
man.
10.
Everyone was eating,
Ajay Mitchell, 10. Yeah. And that's what's dangerous about this Thunder team. The Thunder team is so deep that you can probably put Isaiah Joe on another team as a 3-and-D defender, and he would thrive just as much as he is right now with OKC.
The Thunder have done such a great job building this young core that honestly, like, this could be, I don't want to say something crazy.
And it all stems
I know.
from the Paul George
and what I'm
trade.
saying is, call me crazy, this could be the next Golden State. This very well could be the next Golden State. When you have players like SGA and Chet.
I think they need to let alone make the finals
and
first.
I think this is their year to prove it. Now, am I saying their window is going to close this year? Absolutely not. I think their window is still wide open. I think they have a solid 2-3 year championship window.
But I think you're such an overwhelming favorite that it would be a fail to not win the finals.
No, absolutely.
Especially you have the potential MVP on your team. You have the supporting cast.
Better supporting cast than last year.
Obviously, everyone everyone's still young. You don't have to pay them for a minute.
Yeah.
And then, but I see that the Thunder. I did see the Thunder are kind of changing stuff around. Obviously, Caruso didn't only play 10 minutes this game, so he's just kind of head coach is just building the team to what is going to help against Denver. And when you play Denver, and you're able to hold Jokic to 17 and 8, 17 and 8 is still a career game for some players. But to hold the MVP to 17 and 8, because Jokic is going to get you his assists, he's going to get you 15 plus. But if you can but the fact that you held Jokic under 20, it's probably not going to happen in this series. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to look going into. And
the thing about that, you can't, and like you can also look at the stat sheet, right? But like you got to also remember, like Jokic is such a facilitator to this team, and when you shut him down, you shut everybody else down, and that's how this blowout can happen. Like it's not just we kept him from having a good game, like when you shut down a Curry 50-piece, right? Like no, you shut down their entire facilitator, because Jokic actively makes every single player on the court a better player.
Yeah, and when you watch the film, this game, Aaron Gordon didn't have his backdoor cuts. Aaron Gordon is obviously, he's famous on the Nuggets for being able to hit the back door, and Jokic is going to bounce pass right in. That wasn't there. Chet Holmgren is holding his own against Jokic right now.
There's something to be said about that.
And I think whoever wins this game 3 is going to come out of that series. I would agree with
you. I think that the Thunder could definitely tie or even take the lead in the series, but the thing about the Nuggets is I think once they're down, they're out. Especially with this Thunder team, because you got to remember, like they barely squeaked out against the Clippers, man.
We saw it last year.
And that to me was strange. I'm not gonna lie to you, like that to me was really strange.
Yeah.
And then this year you have no KCP, you lose a couple other pieces, and I think not regaining KCP. Absolutely. I'm not, no disrespect to Christian Brown, but I mean KCP was such a piece to that title team, man.
He was. And I would argue
Absolutely.
They should have kept Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown only walked because of the contract. I that was such a weird move to me. And to not pay him enough, like they had such a solid squad, but I think
after he was your bread and butter off the bench.
Even with all that taken away, like the Nuggets on paper last year should have went to the finals, I feel like. And I think this year, I think they have a chance, but the road ahead is not easy. It is not easy. But let me tell you,
it's not easy, especially since you just came out of that Clipper series. Now you're running into the number 1 overall seed. And not only that, you have to potentially play Golden State or the team that knocked you out last year.
Let me say something. If like to bring it to another series right now, I think the Timberwolves have a chance to, if they are successful, it will go down as one of the craziest playoff paths ever. You play LeBron and Luka. You then play Jimmy and Curry. And then in the Western Conference Final, you either face Nikola Jokic or SGA, the MVPs. I think the Timberwolves have a chance to go on the craziest playoffs run we've ever seen since the 2011 Dallas Mavericks.
Since the 2011 Mavericks. I still don't think it'd be
absolutely not. No, absolutely not. But I think it would be right there with it.
When you look at that Mavericks run, you played the Trailblazers in the first round. That's Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge. That's obviously Brandon Roy.
Young Damian Lillard as well.
You swept the defending. Yeah, you swept the defending champions in the LA Lakers. I believe the gentlemen swept the OKC Thunder. Russ, Harden, and KD. And then you run into the big 3.
Yeah, and East. So like that, I mean, the Timberwolves, again, LeBron and Luka first round, Jimmy and Curry second round, third round, the MVP favorite and the title favorite. Like the Timberwolves have a chance to make history here, and I would honestly, I'm here for it. I think it'd be great to see them make the finals, man. I would love to see like a Timberwolves Knicks finals.
I would say my dream finals right now is the Knicks.
That's what I just said, bro. I think that is my dream scenario right now too. I think if you're a true NBA fan, like, man, you would love to see that.
You either want to see Brunson and Cat win one, or you
absolutely
want to see Ant win one, because you have Brunson and Cat who have been in the league for a while now. They obviously have had their playoff difficulties, especially Brunson on the Knicks. But Anthony Edwards is coming into his own. So if Edwards were to win the finals, I think that would cement him as the new face of the league.
New face of the league?
Because in my opinion, the new face of the league was supposed to be Ja, but because of off the court issues, he fumbled that, and now Anthony Edwards is the new face of the league. Obviously, LeBron isn't retired yet.
True.
So it's hard to overtake the face of the league when LeBron has been the face for so long. But who else do you market after? Because I feel like the NBA isn't going to market an international.
I could see that.
They're going to look for the American player. But the question is, the best player in the NBA hasn't been American since LeBron in 2013.
Okay, I'll hear you out. So who are you referring to? You're referring to Jokic, obviously. Giannis.
Jokic. You had Giannis. You have Wemby upcoming. The best player in the league has been Jokic for the last five
I agree.
to 6 years. Prior to that, it was LeBron. LeBron, say what you want, was the best player in the league. Especially when he had 2018.
That's the best player of all time, 2018 LeBron. But no, I agree. I think Ant does. When you put it that way.
After 2018 LeBron, you have 2019 and 2020 Giannis. But I'd still make the argument that Jokic was better. And Jokic has been the best player in the league since then. So you haven't had the best player in the league be American since LeBron on the Cavs. So now, if you're the NBA, you have to look for that player to market. I don't think that they're going to market an international player. So now it's a matter of who. And I think Anthony Edwards is that player to
I would agree. I think, if we're going to take international players, I think, Luka Doncic is still so young and still has so much time. It's really unfortunate, how the series ended.
And I think they would market Luka if he stays on the Lakers.
Because the Lakers are marketable, man.
Because you have the Lakers as probably the biggest franchise, and then you have one of the biggest international names on that team.
And I'm excited to see what the Lakers do.
I think their priority is to re-sign Luka.
It hurts me to say this, but I don't foresee them winning a championship anytime soon. Really, I think if Luka went on a run,
I think next year. I think this upcoming year after this finals is going to be LeBron's farewell tour.
I don't see him playing another season, man.
I think this is the farewell tour, and I think LeBron is gonna go out on top. I think the Lakers are gonna go all in, build the team that they need, and I think they're gonna go all in for one last run. I think
really all they need, and this is all they need a solid point guard, and they need a good big. That's all they need. They don't need a great big. They need a good big.
Yeah. No. I was screaming at my TV. When I tell you I was screaming at my TV, I kept saying, Alex Len on the floor right now would be better than running the small ball.
You're welcome for having Alex Len, by the way.
You're a Kings fan. So I know how you feel about Alex Len.
I'm so glad we got Valanciunas.
You're a Kings fan. I know how you feel about him. JJ Redick should have put Hayes or Len in the game. It would have been better, at least more competitive in the paint. had you had a body on Gobert instead of just letting him be all free will in the paint.
And it's so, it's really unfortunate Luka was sick for that one game too. I felt like that game really turned the tide of the series, man. What game was that? Is that game 3? Is that the game 3 or game 4? Luka was...
Might have been game 4.
That really sucked, man. You can't blame it on that, but...
Well, game 4, the Lakers were up 20. They should have never lost that game.
Denver Nuggets situation with them, but I think from the East, I'm most disappointed in the Bucks.
I just think
but in the West, I'm the most disappointed from the Lakers.
I agree.
In the West, I'm the most disappointed from the Lakers.
Yeah, I agree. I think the matchup they got in the Timberwolves are just, they're younger, and the best part about the Timberwolves is they're younger. You have Naz Reid, who is a sniper from 3-point range, who has the release at an apex that most defenders can't reach. And I think any other team the Lakers run into the first round, they come out of the first round. I think any other team that they run into
from the pool that was below them, right?
It just so happened it was the Warriors.
Yeah, they wouldn't beat the Warriors for sure. Or the Grizzlies.
Or the Grizzlies. Grizzlies could have been the 6th seed. But they just got, when you look at the NBA and their playoffs, it's all about matchups. Who are you favored against? And that's a big reason why the 2013 Spurs made that finals run, because that Spurs team was so dynamic. It didn't matter who they played in the West, they were going to come out. And they just happened to run into Ray Allen at that time.
Yeah.
But I think any other team, the Lakers come out of that series. It's just, I feel like the Lakers are still trying to get the vets instead of getting younger. All these NBA teams are getting younger. The only other team that I would say isn't is possibly the Warriors, because the Warriors know that they can still win with Steph and Draymond.
They gave Draymond a paycheck, and Curry's not leaving; he's not going anywhere. But the Warriors are going to have a devastating fall off, bro.
The way Curry plays, especially the way Curry plays, you don't need him to get you 30 when you have Jimmy Butler that can do that. All you need is Curry to be able to facilitate.
Yeah, his off ball is so. I would say his off ball is the best of all time.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I don't think anyone would be able to have the conditioning or the cardio to be able to.
Yeah, I think we
like Steph.
It's underappreciated, man. We always talk about his 3 points, right? Because obviously that's what he's known for. But his off ball, there's something to be said about that, bro.
Yeah, especially when you're able to just run around and you're still conditioned enough to be able to get your shot off.
Bro. It's unstoppable. But I mean, it's unfortunate if you're a Dubs fan to see him out for both game 1 and 2. I mean, you're really happy about that game 1 win, but
you won game 1, but at what cost?
See, Dubs, I have a lot of Dubs fans in my ears right now telling me that they're going to the finals, and this Rockets Warriors series was PTSD for me as a Kings fan, bro, because I knew.
I was telling one of my friends. I told them, had the Warriors blown that 3-1 lead, would that have hurt Curry's legacy?
Not, to be honest with you, I think Curry is so established in his career as just one of the greats of all time that like a 3-1 blown lead, and he's 37. I think it's whatever, like Magic had a couple, bad years, which I still think he's the better point guard all time, but people have me at my throat for that. But anyway,
I would agree with you on that, and I just not even being biased, I think Magic is the greatest one.
Anyway, so I don't think it hurts his legacy, man.
I wouldn't say it's not close.
Well, of course,
I wouldn't say it's not close. But I would take Magic over Curry.
But this Rockets Warriors fan, as a Kings fan, was PTSD for me, because the Kings were in the exact same spot 2 years ago as the Rockets were, and I knew Curry was. I knew they were going to deliver, man. That Buddy Hield single-handedly saved the Warriors as a franchise, dude. Because,
dude, you did not. You would have thought it was going to be a Jimmy Butler game, a Steph Curry game.
It was a Buddy Hield.
I would not have bet the house on Buddy Hield getting 33 points.
Masterclass first half, missing one 3-pointer.
He shot what?
Yeah,
9
the first half or something crazy.
Something crazy.
I don't even know. I don't even know what's up with that, but you know, because you're expecting a Curry 50 piece in a game 7. You're expecting a playoff Jimmy, but a Buddy Hield masterclass.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure didn't he have the 50 piece against the Kings?
Sure did, and that's what I thought was going to happen, man. Because I knew when I saw the Rockets were going back, I knew Golden State wasn't going. They'd been here before, and they weren't going to let it happen.
No, I thought, in my opinion, I thought the weakest team in the West was the Rockets. And I know they went 7 games with the Warriors, and the Lakers went 5 games with the Timberwolves. But I think if you match the Rockets and the Lakers walk out of that series. I just think in Game 7,
absolutely,
the experience showed.
And that's how I knew. That's how I knew.
The experience showed. Jalen Green shrunk in Game 7 when it mattered most. It didn't matter what you did in Game 5 and 6. Amin Thompson, didn't matter what you did. I will say Amin Thompson did have a good Game 7, though.
And Steven Adams has been coming up
and
huge.
I think Steven Adams was their only veteran presence on that team. Yeah. I think the inexperience definitely showed. It doesn't matter if you win Game 5 and Game 6. All that matters is Game 7. And the Rockets.
No, I agree.
They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to respond because they were so focused on stopping Curry from winning that Game 7 that they were content with Buddy Hield winning them the game. And when Buddy Hield hits his shots, I think people underappreciate how good of a 3-point shooter Buddy Hield is. I mean, he's a 3-point.
Yeah, as a Kings fan, I would know.
Yeah, Buddy Hield is significantly underrated in terms of his 3-point shooting, which is crazy because that's his specialty.
Yeah. I think this has definitely been his worst year, you know, because Buddy Hield's been quiet since literally the other day, Game 7, but it's definitely true. But yeah, I do agree with you with the Rockets being the weakest team in the West. I think, maybe there's a case for the Grizzlies, because they barely squeaked out of the play-in. They had injury, but that's expected. They're the 8th seed, but the Rockets were a 2 seed, and to me, that was another example of a team thriving in the regular season, and I just knew they're not going to go far. They're not going to go far.
Yeah. And actually, we only have one game tomorrow. The only game tomorrow is Warriors
which
Timberwolves.
I still hold to. Whoever wins this, I believe, will win the series.
Yeah, and I think, let me see, it starts at 5:30. It'll be interesting to see how the Warriors are going to play the Timberwolves without Steph. You don't have your reliable 3-point shooter. You're gonna need a big game from Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need a big game from everybody, man.
And like Game 1, Draymond was hitting his 3-point shots. Is he gonna be able to consistently do that throughout Game 2?
History tells us no, but who knows? This isn't 2017, but I
mean, who knows? Remember 2016 finals when he started?
That's what I'm saying, bro. This ain't that time no more, man. Once
he caught that random burger out of nowhere.
Made me so mad.
And then, so what do you think the Cavs have to do to be able to respond to the Pacers being down 2-0?
Right now they're missing some good players, right? But I think they really got to go back to their bread and butter.
Yeah.
I think they gotta just kind of wake up. I think the inexperience for a lot of these players is really starting to show, and they have the pieces to make it work. But to me, I just feel like if you allow these leads to be blown and have these fourth quarter meltdowns, like, what's that going to look like the next series?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think for me, it's like they got to bring that intensity.
And you were up 20 back-to-back games.
So they have the ability to do it. They just don't have the ability to close.
No, and it's just a matter of who's going to be your closer. You had Mitchell with 48 points in game 2. 48 points in 36 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
You had Max Strus with 23. You had Jarrett Allen with 22. Jarrett Allen is going to give you what he gives you. Max Strus, I feel like Strus is kind of off and on. But then you had potential, you had runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year, Ty Jerome. 2-3-2 in 28 minutes.
And I think that intensity, like, to just want to win. I know that
Sam
sounds
Earl with 14.
But like the Pacers want it, and the Cavs have to want it if they want to win. I know that sounds crazy, but like when you blow 20-point leads back to back, that shows me you don't want it.
Oh.
Oh, I think I lost you.
Oh, crap.
There we go.
Yeah, I lost you.
Oh yeah, you're good.
No, but
I was saying that, like, you know, when if you're blowing 20-point games back to back, to me that shows that you just don't want it, and the Cavs need to want it, bro. And not just in the first half, but like they gotta close. They have to close.
Yeah, I think Mitchell has to be the closer. I know he had 48, almost 50, but in a game where you're up 20, I believe they were up 9 with a minute left.
Yeah.
You have to close that game
for sure.
Mitchell. And I know you already just put up almost 50, but you have to be the guy. It doesn't matter if you just drop 50. You got to go hit those free throws if you're needed. And the rebounding was atrocious in that last one. Halliburton missed the free throw. I believe it was Halliburton that missed the free throw. Got his own rebound. Was able to dribble out to the 3-point line.
Yeah, where's the defense?
He just hit the shot of shots.
Just an all-time meltdown. And I think the Pacers also have a chance to go on a really legendary run right now. Because to me,
I would like to see the Pacers.
Yeah, because to me, we don't talk about the Pacers.
I wouldn't mind that.
Why would we talk about the Pacers? But now we have, like, the Pacers showing, hey, we're here.
Yeah, they're a damn basketball team in Indiana. Who cares,
and you know,
about Indiana?
They have a solid team, man.
Like no disrespect to Indiana, but like when you think of the marketing in the NBA, who cares about Indiana?
It really is a small market.
Yeah, small market. Like even though the Cavs are somewhat of a small market, it's because you had the figure of LeBron that brought that franchise to the market it is.
And you can make an argument for, you know, the early 2000s Pacers, and that was a special time for them. But I mean, this is the best we've seen them since then. You know, even the Paul George, Roy Hibbert era that came up short because of LeBron, and you know, even the Victor Oladipo era of the Pacers. You know, like that brought the Cavs to 7 games. So, you know, to see them finally back and looking at them like, man, this is a complete team, this is a complete roster. You know, they're not just relying on one guy. And, you know,
I will say though, the main man who's been through those eras is
Miles Turner. Man, he's been on the team forever, bro.
Miles Turner has stuck it through and through with that.
Since the Oladipo days,
through all the downs and through all the highs and lows, he's
absolutely
stuck with that Pacers team. And if you're the Pacers, you got to be grateful.
Yeah, give Miles Turner his flowers. Sure.
Yeah, man, because he could have easily left that.
So I would love to see the Pacers get out,
especially since Miles Turner. Yeah, I like to see a Pacers Knicks finals would
absolutely. I would love, because there's so much grit. There's so much grit. Sometimes, you know, you have teams with talent and then you have teams with grit. and the Pacers and the Knicks are teams with grit. They have talent, absolutely. Cat, top 5 center in the league. Brunson, arguably top 5 point guard in the league. Mikal Bridges, they have a lot of stuff, but like the Celtics have more talent, I think, than the Knicks, obviously. But the Knicks just have more grit.
Yeah. Like you said, Knicks just want it more. Like I said earlier, the Celtics are still on that. Well, we just won the finals, so
we just had a great regular season.
But it also depends on the team that you're with, because when you have a small market like the Pacers, when you have a bigger market that hasn't had the recent success like the Knicks, you would kill to be in the finals. Whereas the Celtics, 18 championships, say what you want, even though they were pre-civil rights era.
Yeah. Oh man, 2 chips since the civil rights era.
Say what you want, you still have 18 championships. The same way Laker fans are so spoiled.
Yeah, they've had a championship every day.
Like a lot of people, a lot of Laker fans I know are crapping on LeBron, but they seem to forget where they came from. The Lakers at one point were Bobcats level poverty.
Those post-Kobe, pre-LeBron days.
You had not only that, Kobe's
they were
last
awful.
Years were awful. And I know all you would really think about, Kobe had 60 in his last game.
Yeah.
What about every other game?
And he was injured. But I mean, still.
He was injured.
How it's a poverty team.
But a lot of people just forget how bad the Lakers team was for those 6-7 years. And then in comes LeBron. A lot of people forget Lakers were the 4 seed that year. Lakers were the 4 seed before LeBron had his before he had like his first major injury where he popped his groin. And then obviously next year you get AD and you win the finals. And then 2021, had it not been for AD and LeBron getting hurt, they might repeat.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to talk about 2022 though. That was a disaster class.
2020, I don't know why they ever dismantled that team. I don't know. Yeah, that was a disaster. That you were trying to get Russell Westbrook to pair with LeBron, but I knew it wasn't going to work from the start just because of how similar they played.
Yeah.
I think this offseason, though, the Lakers have to get their big. They need... I don't want to say they need Jaden McDaniels, but they could use a player like Jaden McDaniels. They can use that. They could use a lengthy 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
Which is why I was hoping Klay Thompson would come to the Lakers.
He went to Dallas, man. We all thought he was going. I thought he was going to the Lakers. Everyone did. That's where his dad was. But.
Well, I feel like it just makes sense. Your dad was the number 1 overall pick by the Lakers.
He went to Dallas.
You grew up a Laker fan.
No Kyrie, no Luka, so
it felt like the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Lakers will be all right if they get their big next year. Now whether that's you get your vet or
knowing that they'll get like Eugene Banks or someone, bro. They'll get some. They always do that, bro.
They're man, I always said this. I love Dalton Connect. I think he has a bright future, even though he's on the older side in terms of rookies. You should have let that Mark Williams trade go through.
Oh yeah, especially if you have Luka now. Like if you have a Luka, you don't need a Dalton Connect.
Yeah, and that's what makes Luka successful. Luka's success on the Mavericks came from having a lob threat center. You traded for a lob threat center, but obviously because you were so concerned of his injury history, that you withdrew from the trade.
I agree, because when I saw that pickup, like it wasn't a huge pickup, right? It's not like groundbreaking, but that's a solid pickup. And sometimes like all a team needs is a solid pickup to get them from like good to great. That would have been good for them then. But what do you do?
Yeah. What do I know? What do I know? I've only rebuilt the Spurs like 20 times in 2K.
Legendary GM. Legendary GM. Yeah.
Oh God, I'll be going crazy with the Spurs. Man, I've been thinking about streaming. I don't know though. Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I might consider it. I might consider it.
Yeah.
Some Marvel Rivals.
I went GM last season. Yeah. I went GM last season.
I went plat.
Yeah, I get it.
That's about it. Oh yeah, man. Let's see. What else is there to talk about? Let me see. What else is there to talk about? I feel like we kind of hit every other.
Yeah.
I feel like we.
Yeah, I'm good to call it. We're good.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's it, man. We might have to do like our little thing. I do want to show the audience how far back you could go.
What?
Actually, can you do that? How far back in terms of?
Oh,
NBA
okay. Let's do it.
Finals
Let's do it.
winners
Let's end the podcast on this. Finals winners.
All right. Let me pull this up. NBA Finals. I'm gonna pull this up because when I tell you guys, this dude is the NBA nerd. He's straight up the NBA nerd.
You still see? Oh.
Let me see. All right.
You ready? Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes. That way, there's no speculation. Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's see how far. I can probably go. Okay, let's see. 24. Boston, Denver, Golden State, Bucks, Lakers, Raptors, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors, Spurs, Heat, Dallas, Lakers, Celtics, Spurs, Heat, Spurs, Detroit, Spurs, Lakers, Spurs, Bulls, Rockets, Bulls, Pistons. I think the Lakers, Boston, the Sixers. 19.
What year are you at?
Hold on, I'm at 19. Start from 1980. So okay, 1990, right? Is the Pistons, right? So Pistons. Right.
1990.
So Pistons. Lakers. Boston. I think, is it Philly?
84, 85.
Oh, that's that's the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I went back to 84 because I know the Sixers.
That's the Lakers. So you actually had it. So you had the Sixers at 1982, 83.
Oh, okay.
So that was the Sixers.
Yeah.
All right. How can you go further back than that?
What year am I at?
1981, 1982.
1982 is the Lakers. And then, so the year before then is Boston.
Yeah.
The year before then is the Lakers, because that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So then before that was the Supersonics.
You struggled with 77, 78 last time you did this.
It's something weird. Because the Sonics went to the finals the year before. They went to the finals 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's either the Philadelphia Warriors or the Bullets. Is it the Bullets? Okay, then before then is... Oh, okay, no, then, because before then is Portland. Then before then is Boston, but the year before that, that's Golden State. and then before then is the Celtics, and then if I'm not wrong, I think this is the Walt Frazier New York Knicks, right? 1974. And then
72-73.
And then this might be the last one I know. I think this was because I know that the Knicks won. Okay, so the one before that, the Lakers won, right? But the year before that, what am I at? 1971.
1970-71.
71. Oh, Oscar Robertson and Kareem. The Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks. And before that's the Knicks. And then before that is like all the Boston championships. I don't know. Before that.
Yeah. So you went all the way back to 1968, 1969, where you had the Celtics, Sixers, Celtics. Then you had the St. Louis Hawks.
Let me look it up.
And then you had the Celtics, Warriors, and then Syracuse Nationals, and then the Lakers, and then Rochester Royals.
The title we've ever had.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, what did I say? NBA nerd. Went all the way back to 1968.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh my God. I'm going to upload this on TikTok.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on the podcast. Have me back anytime.
Yeah, man.
It's good being here.
Problem, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to get you back on here.